That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, please, I want to remind everyone, go down to that comment section, ask any start-sit questions that you have, and also, as you watch the video, go down there and answer some start-sit questions. I mean, that comment section is such a powerful tool at this time of year. Whenever we are trying to go out there, take home these fantasy football titles. We know during the fantasy football playoffs, really the only thing that is mattering at this point is your start-sit decisions. Your roster construction is not necessarily that important. So please help someone out. Let's flock up. We are all a part of the flock. As soon as you decided to subscribe to this channel, you joined, and help out another member of the flock in that comment section and give them some advice on their starting lineup. Okay, well, that's it. Now let's get into this video and let's talk about our top 24 running backs for the fantasy football playoffs. I'm going to be considering their workloads. I'm going to be considering their efficiency and their matchups over the next 3 weeks. Really, week 17, I'm not even going to be thinking about, as you should not be playing fantasy football after week 16, because in week 17, we know that there are multiple players who go out there and they just get benched based on their team either completely being out of the playoffs or already locking up that first round bye. Okay, so let's go into it, and let's start it off with the running back that has been our number one running back over the past 3 weeks now. This is going to be Derrick Henry. Okay, guys, not only is Derrick Henry seeing a workload that can really not be matched by any other running back in the entire NFL, but he also has a fantastic schedule for the fantasy football playoffs, where he's going up against teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars, where we know that Derrick Henry is a threat to go over 200 rushing yards, score the ball multiple times. Really, not many players in fantasy football that can come close to the ceiling that Derrick Henry provides for you any given week. So we're going to have him here at number one. Also has a very high floor based on the fact that he's going to see 20 touches in every game. Okay, so now let's go over to our running back 2, Dalvin Cook. Okay, with Dalvin Cook, now yes, I actually like the way that he's used in his offense a little bit more than Derrick Henry, where Dalvin Cook is going to get used in the passing game a little bit more. But the problem here is with Dalvin Cook, he does not have that same type of schedule as Derrick Henry, where he's still definitely an elite option based on the efficiency that we see with his touches combined with that overall workload that he has. The problem is the matchup is not necessarily at that Derrick Henry level. Okay, so now let's go to our running back 3. Now I know this is going to be something that's going to surprise a ton of people, but I'm having to put him here. James Robinson. Okay, guys, if you talk about workloads in their respective offenses, I mean, since we saw Chris Thompson go on the IR, there have been very few running backs that have been coming close to the amount of touches that James Robinson sees every single week. And now I want to come out and I want to give y'all a massive apology. Y'all know about 3 or 4 weeks ago, whenever we saw the Gardner Minshew benching, I told y'all to go and sell James Robinson, as I was expecting this to be one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL. And while it has been a very bad offense, I mean, it just simply has not mattered with James Robinson, as he looks to be one of the most impressive rookie running backs that we've seen over the past 5 years, despite being undrafted. And he is getting the amount of usage in his offense where it makes him matchup proof. I mean, when you are seeing 25 carries a game, when you are seeing 5 receptions a game, I mean, it does not matter how bad your offense is. You're going to be putting up points. And James Robinson has some intriguing matchups coming up, just like the Tennessee Titans in week 14. Okay, now coming in here at running back 4 would definitely be higher than this if he had a starting quarterback, but Alvin Kamara. Okay, guys, I think that everybody finally agrees with me now that Alvin Kamara is a running back that we need to be bumping down our rankings based on the fact that Taysom Hill is the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, because that target share is not really going to be there. I mean, Alvin Kamara getting about 8% of his team's targets is not what he needs to be that number 1 overall option. He needs Drew Brees to come back in. He needs Brees to be able to pump targets through Alvin Kamara, which is in the range of outcomes for week 15 and week 16. But I think that in week 14, we have Taysom Hill as the starting quarterback yet again in New Orleans. Okay, so now let's go to our running back 5, Aaron Jones, having a fantastic week this past week, but now the matchups are about to get a little bit tougher after his week 14 game with Aaron Jones. Like I've said so many times before, the reason that he's an elite option in fantasy football is not because of the workload. It's not because he's going to be seeing 25 or 30 touches in his offense. The reason that you love Aaron Jones as an elite fantasy asset is based on the fact that this is going to be a running back that's getting all of the valuable touches in his offense in terms of the targets out of the backfield, in terms of the usage at the goal line. Here with Aaron Jones, definitely going to be a top 5 option. Okay, so now coming in here at running back 6 is going to be a player that we are lowering down our rankings based on where we had him this past week, but we are going to have Austin Ekeler. Okay, with Austin Ekeler, this is a running back that has a fantastic schedule for the fantasy football playoffs, starting in week 14 with the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm going to be expecting this offense to be a bounce back offense after a horrendous week against the New England Patriots. The one problem here with Austin Ekeler is we don't necessarily know if we can rely on that target share maintaining at an elite level. I mean, maybe they decide to try to funnel the ball a little bit more through Keenan Allen whenever their offense was really clicking earlier this season. That's what their game plan was. So maybe we see them change it up just slightly. Okay, so now coming in here at running back 7, we are going to have someone that would be way higher than this if it was not for his injury, but Christian McCaffrey. Okay, McCaffrey right now looks like he is going to be missing week 14. And y'all know I said the worry with McCaffrey was that they lost their game in week 12 and they were knocked out of the NFL playoffs. Really, there was no reason for this Carolina Panthers front office to bring back Christian McCaffrey as they have him under that long-term contract. And if you're not playing for a playoff spot, are you just playing Christian McCaffrey so your TV ratings are higher? I mean, I don't know. But here with McCaffrey, it is a real concern that we do not see him in another game in 2020. Okay, so now coming in here at running back 8, someone that I know y'all are going to be making a giant fuss about, Nick Chubb. Okay, guys, y'all know I've been consistently lower on Nick Chubb than consensus pretty much all season now, just because Nick Chubb is not necessarily getting the workload that we need to see in the Cleveland Browns offense for him to be that consistent high-end producer. And by high-end producer, I am talking about a top 3 running back, someone like a Derrick Henry, someone like a Dalvin Cook, someone like an Alvin Kamara. No, Nick Chubb is getting the usage to be a low-end running back 1. Like I've said, he is the entire season now. And y'all want to continue coming out here and saying, oh, Mason, you were wrong about Nick Chubb. You had him as a low-end running back 1. Look what he did this past week. And then I go over and look what he did the past week. And he's a high-end running back 2, low-end running back 1. And I'm like, guys, what are y'all looking at here? I know Nick Chubb's one of the most exciting running backs in the entire NFL. He's one of the most talented running backs in the entire NFL. I would argue that he's more talented than Austin Ekeler, than Aaron Jones, than James Robinson. I mean, he is fantastic. The problem is just Kareem Hunt is seeing too many touches in that offense for Nick Chubb to be anything more than a mid to low-end running back 1 here. So y'all can continue to tell me I'm wrong about this, but I mean, go look at the game log. Go look at the stats. I mean, Nick Chubb was, the running back 12 this past week in a game where the Cleveland Browns were like the highest scoring game on Sunday? I mean, Nick Chubb, I love the talent, but it's going to have to be down here at 8. Okay, so now coming in here at 9, someone that y'all know we are higher on than anybody else, we are going to have DeAndre Swift. Looks like DeAndre Swift should be suiting up for action in Week 14 in a great matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Here, I think that DeAndre Swift is a locked and loaded running back 1. No question about it. Even if he only sees about 20 touches in this offense, he has that Aaron Jones effect where he may not necessarily be getting every single touch in the offense, but he should be getting the valuable touches. He should be getting the targets. He should be getting the carries between the tackles. Here, DeAndre Swift is going to slide in at running back 9. Okay. So now coming in here at running back 10, we're going to have someone that we've been consistently higher on than pretty much anybody the past month, even though I don't like the talent, even though I think he's one of the worst starting running backs in the NFL. David Montgomery. And guys, I really want everybody to learn a lesson from this. I mean, I can hate the talent of a David Montgomery, and I can still be higher on him than anybody else based on the fact that I understand his rest of season schedule. I understand the workload that he is seeing in his offense. And on the flip side, I mean, the exact opposite thing we're seeing with Nick Chubb, where I agree with y'all in terms of Nick Chubb's talent level, where I may actually think that Nick Chubb's a little bit more of a talented running back than you think yourself. But the problem is, it's all about the usage. It's all about the fantasy points because we are not building an NFL team here. I can understand that David Montgomery may be a worse NFL running back than a Josh Jacobs, a Jonathan Taylor, a Myles Gaskin, a J.K. Dobbins, a Ezekiel Elliott, a Kenyon Drake, a Miles Sanders. I mean, he could be worse than all of those guys. But with the usage that he's seeing in Chicago, with his rest of season schedule, I mean, he can be a better fantasy football asset just because we know we are scoring fake points. We are chasing touches. We are chasing production, not necessarily just raw talent. So here, guys, please take this as a lesson. I mean, we can have David Montgomery as a low-end running back 1 while not even liking his talent, while having Nick Chubb as a low-end running back 1, where most of y'all will say he's a high-end running back 1, even though I love the running back talent that we have in Nick Chubb. I mean, we just have to understand the offenses. We have to understand the touch distribution here. So yeah, David Montgomery going to be in here at 10 based on his workload and based on his rest of season schedule. Okay, so now coming in here at running back 11, we are going to have Josh Jacobs, currently looking like he's most likely going to miss this week. But here with Jacobs, I think that we have to acknowledge the fact that when he comes into this Las Vegas Raiders offense, he is going to be a workhorse type running back where he is getting targeted out of the backfield. He's getting pretty much every single touch between the tackles. And based on the failure of a Devontae Booker this past week against the New York Jets, I think that once Jacobs is healthy, they decide to lean on him even more to save their season. Jacobs, I think, honestly, has a shot to play in week 14. If not, I think he's back by week 15. Okay, so now let's go and let's round it out with our last running back 1. Let's go with Chris Carson here at running back 12. Now with Chris Carson, this is a running back that I owe y'all a massive apology on. I mean, I made Chris Carson a sell high running back for us a few weeks ago, just like a James Robinson, because I did not necessarily think that he was going to be able to maintain that target share in the Seattle Seahawks offense, but he has. I was wrong. It's that simple. Rashad Penny's still not back at practice, so I think I was overblown about those worries. Here with Chris Carson, I was wrong. He's a low-end running back 1. He's a high-end running back 2 based on the offense that he's playing in and based on the fact that he is going to be seeing the majority of the touches in that backfield. Okay, now coming in here at running back 13, we are going to have a Jonathan Taylor. Okay, so with Jonathan Taylor, love the talent. I mean, I've talked about him so much. I mean, his athletic profile, his production profile coming out of Wisconsin really lines him up with a running back like a Saquon Barkley, where Jonathan Taylor looks like an elite asset. On top of that, he is now getting receiving game usage in the Indianapolis Colts offense, with Phillip Rivers being that dump off captain. And here, I think that with Jonathan Taylor, if he continues to see this type of usage in the offense, he's a locked and loaded high-end running back 2, low-end running back 1 rest of season. Okay, so now let's go to our running back 14. Going to be a lot higher than where a lot of y'all have him. Myles Gaskin. Okay, with Myles Gaskin, guys, I am so excited. Based off that usage that he saw this past week, where he was seeing targets out of the backfield, but more importantly, he was seeing every single touch at the goal line. Now, that did not necessarily translate over to some points. I mean, that did not get him that touchdown in week 13. But we know what I talk about all the time is chasing volume, understanding that efficiency is volatile week to week. As long as you have that volume, you are a running back that has the ceiling to go out there and be a running back 1 any given week. That's what we have here with Myles Gaskin. Very similar to a David Montgomery. He is just going to be getting so many touches in that offense. He's just too big to fail. Okay. So now coming in here at running back 15, someone that's a lot more talented than the running backs we have ahead of him, J.K. Dobbins. With Dobbins, I know a lot of people are excited about this past performance against the Dallas Cowboys, but honestly, I mean, I did not get that excited about it. I mean, we saw Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards both get usage at the very beginning of that game, and while clearly J.K. Dobbins is the most talented running back in that backfield, he was not getting 75% of the touches. I mean, that's what we need to see. We already know that J.K. Dobbins is by far and away the most talented running back in Baltimore. Nobody's ever been arguing anything besides that. But what we need to see is we need to see the usage, not necessarily there. Still going to have him ranked as a high-end running back too, understanding that it is in the range of outcomes for J.K. Dobbins to be a top 5 running back in the fantasy football playoffs. We just need to see the usage. Okay, so coming in here at running back 16, someone getting all of the volume in his offense, Ezekiel Elliott. Honestly, Elliott is the running back that I came away impressed with that Dallas Cowboys and Baltimore Ravens game, as Ezekiel Elliott showed us that he is going to get those targets out of the backfield. He is going to maintain his role as the running back 1 on that offense. And up in week 14, he actually has a great matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals, where I think Ezekiel Elliott is comfortably a running back 2 based on his volume. And if he does get that good matchup and we see the efficiency spike, Ezekiel Elliott could be up in that running back 1 range. Okay, so now let's go to our running back 17, someone that I've been trying to get you off of your rosters, Raheem Mostert. Okay, with Mostert, I will say, like we've said all season, Really, I think his value is so contingent on if we are going to be getting George Kittle back to this offense, as George Kittle not only makes this team see more first downs, but on top of that, he drastically increases their run efficiency, as he is one of the best run blocking tight ends in the entire NFL. So George Kittle, I think, coming back would really help Raheem Mostert, but right now we don't have clarity on that situation. So we are going to have him ranked as a mid running back 2 with really no receiving game equity in his offense. He's really just a touchdown or bust player at this point. Okay. So now coming in here at running back 18, going to be lower than where a lot of y'all have him, but we are going to have Kenyon Drake. Guys, I will say right now, I think that Kenyon Drake has honestly been kind of lucky with his touchdown variance over the past few weeks, where with the Kyler Murray shoulder injury, he has not necessarily been able to go out there and vulture some more touchdowns from Kenyon Drake. But as that shoulder gets healthier, we know that Kyler Murray is going to bump up his own rushing game usage, especially near the goal line, where Kyler Murray is going to be stealing some of those touchdowns away from Kenyon Drake. And when you're not seeing every single target out of your backfield, really, you need to be getting every single touch at the goal line. Kenyon Drake's not getting either of those, so we are going to have him down here at running back 18. Okay, so now coming in here at running back 19, we are going to have a Wayne Gallman who continues to impress week after week after week. Honestly, I could have him a little bit higher than this. I mean, I'm just very hesitant to rank a running back this high with having Colt McCoy as your starting quarterback, playing in one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL. But it looks like Wayne Gallman may have a little bit of James Robinson to him, to where it really does not matter how bad of an offense that he's playing in when he is seeing so much volume in that offense that he's going to produce no matter what. Okay. Now, coming in here at running back 20, maybe my biggest miss in 2020, this is going to be Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders absolutely killing all of our fantasy teams. And honestly, I know a lot of people are relying on Jalen Hurts to kind of save that Miles Sanders 2020 campaign. But here, I don't know if that happens. I think that Jalen Hurts helps the Philadelphia Eagles offense, why I've been screaming for Carson Wentz to be benched all season now. But here, I think that Jalen Hurts has a very similar effect to a Taysom Hill, where yes, he may help the Philadelphia Eagles offense, but he's not going to be dumping it down to the running backs out of the backfield. I think that he looks at his first read. If that first read is not there, he tucks it and runs, or he decides to throw it away. With Miles Sanders, I don't necessarily think he has the receiving game equity, and I think he's playing in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Okay, so now coming in here at running back 21, someone that I also got very wrong in 2020. We are going to have a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Obviously, CEH has the ceiling that really cannot be matched by any running back in this running back 2 range, as if he could become a feature down running back getting targets out of the backfield for the Kansas City Chiefs. There's so much production to go around in that offense that CEH could be a top 5 running back. But right now, Le'Veon Bell, Darrell Williams are both seeing too much usage on this team. And on top of that, with CEH, he's just not getting used in the receiving game like we'd want to see. So he's going to be down here at 21. Okay, so coming down here at 22, coming off his bye week, we are going to have Ronald Jones, very similar to a CEH, not getting enough receiving game usage, not getting all of the touches in his offense. He has a ton of ceiling based on the fact that he's playing in one of the more productive offenses in the entire NFL. I just don't necessarily think that with Ronald Jones, we can say yes, that floor to rank him any higher than this. Okay, now coming in here at running back 23, we are going to have James Conner, one of the most frustrating running backs so far this season, as even when James Conner has been healthy, he has not been getting the goal line usage. I mean, he's been getting vultured by Chase Claypool, he's been getting vultured by Benny Snell. Frustrating for James Conner's owners, but I think coming back in, knowing that he's going to be playing in one of the most productive offenses in football, we have to rank him here at 23. Okay. Now, rounding us out at running back 24, we are going to have one of my favorite running backs this season. Y'all know how high we were on him. Antonio Gibson. The problem with Gibson is I just don't know if we see him back this season. I mean, really, what are we going to be seeing if this Washington football team loses a game and then the New York Giants win one and the Washington football team is not necessarily in consideration for the playoffs anymore? I think at that point, you would just kind of shut down Antonio Gibson, who's most likely going to miss the next few weeks anyway. So with Gibson, this may be a running back that at best we are getting back in week 15 or week 16. So despite the talent, we are going to have him down here at running back 24. Okay, now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop that like, leave that comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And yeah, that's it. I hope I see y'all with the video or in a live stream coming up soon.